video will be a little bit different. I'm in my studio right now, and I want to show you one of the biggest challenges I have right now in my space and talk about the little dirty secret I've been keeping. It's all about paper. The thing is, I've bought all this paper and I feel really guilty that it just sits here. These two cubes right here are what I'm talking about. This shelf is where I've been keeping my collection packs, some themes, and a few paper pads. And this shelf is where I have the rest of my paper pad collection. It's all organized, don't get me wrong. The problem is when I go to make page kits, I never come here to find paper. I'm sure there's amazing papers hidden away in these collections and paper pads, but since I never look here, I wouldn't even know. I need to fix this, and I've come up with a plan. Okay, I'm back at my desk. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Tammy Time Design YouTube channel. I'm Tammy, and in today's video, I wanted to chat about a change I'm making to my pattern paper storage. I just released a free workshop, which is exclusive to my email subscribers, all about how I pick my pattern papers for page kits. And ever since I shot that video, I've realized that areas of my space are not set up to support the way I make my page kits. While I've been mulling this over, Janet Madison over at RTS Scrapbooking has been discussing tearing down some of her paper collections on her Patreon. If you're looking for excellent scrapbooking content, I highly recommend joining her Patreon community. Janet is breaking down some of her collections by color families. How she's doing that does not work for me, but listening to her share her process got the gears turning. If I were to do the same thing, how would I do it? Where would all that paper go? We all approach paper storage differently. Some people sort by color, some people sort by theme or season, and some people sort by manufacturer. That's me. I've always thought about paper in terms of who made it. That's just how my brain works. So I sort most of my paper by manufacturer. Except for the collection kits and paper pads, I always kept them together and neatly organized, but they just sit on a shelf. I never wanted to break up these collections for good reasons. Collections are convenient and everything coordinates. But by keeping them together, I'm not using them. Now that I have a better understanding of my process and how I select papers in the first place, I get why I'm not using them. So I spent some time thinking about how to fix it, and I've done a couple of trial runs to make sure it works. I believe these changes are going to make a huge difference in my space, and I'm ready to invest the time to make it happen because it's going to take time and patience to see it through. This is not going to be a quick fix. First of all, this is how paper usually moves through my space. When I place an order from scrapbook.com or Cherry on Top or wherever, I unbox the order. I add all new papers to this stack right here. It's only about an inch thick right now, but I'm always buying paper. You're probably asking, how new is new? As I flip, you may see papers that are older. I don't pay attention to when paper was released. When I buy it, it's new to me. When single sheets come into my space, they go into this stack. When I'm making my page kits, I go here first to find paper. Paper may stay in this stack for months or even a year. I keep papers I'm excited to use in this stack as long as I'm still excited to use them. When the stack gets too big, I will weed out older papers. That paper will be moved over to files I have set up by manufacturer. I have a bunch of Cropper Hopper paper files labeled by manufacturer. So this is Echo Park and Doodlebug. I try to keep any papers from the same collection together, but these files contain multiple collections and random papers. If paper comes out of the new stack, in the past, it always went to these files. When I was done working on a layout, the 12 by 12 sheets and any leftovers I want to keep go in the manufacturer files. For the most part, I only have one file per manufacturer. I also have a section of paper that I call my B-sides. All of the papers here are tone-on-tone or single color prints. This holder is arranged in a rainbow, so I can easily put my hands on the color I need. I've had this B-side bins for, 10 years at least. It's similar to what Janet calls her rainbow section. But this one bin is all I have, and I've always been able to contain these papers to this one bin. I set it up in a rainbow, and within each color, I start with the lighter papers up front and move to the darker papers, and then it goes to the next color. Lighter papers up front, darker papers to the back, and so on. There are no multicolor papers in here, at least not on the front side that I'm looking at to pull them. I don't have any interest in expanding my manufacturer files, but I pull papers from the B-side bin all the time, and this is where I have a lot of room to grow when I break down all of the collections and paper pads. So yes, I'm going to tear down my collections. If you're someone who scrapbooks primarily from collections, this conversation might make you uncomfortable. There are reasons to keep collections together. The papers instantly coordinate, absolutely. That is a big benefit. If that's you and it works for you, keep doing what you're doing. But I'm not using these papers. If I bought it, I need to use it or I need to get it out of my space. So I'm breaking down the collections and I need to have a place to put everything. I'm not putting these collections in my news stack because they aren't new papers. I don't want everything to go in the manufacturer files because I don't have a ton of room. I'm going to expand my rainbow, but that's only for the single color and tone-on-tone papers. So what else can I do? And it finally occurred to me, what if I create a bunch of page kits from all of these collections and paper pads as I tear them down? And that's what I'm going to do. I'm adding a new stack in my space dedicated to kit starters. I talk at great length about kit starters in the free workshop I'm giving out to my email subscribers, so check that out if you're interested. I'll add a link in the description box below. This is my brand new stack of kit starters, and I'm excited to finally have a place to start collecting these. The kit starter paper is on top, and any papers I had from a collection that coordinated or mixed and matched from other manufacturers goes together. I don't have anything separating each kit. I pretty much know which paper is the kit starter and what papers go with it. You could always put a piece of copy paper in between, but I didn't see the need to do that. Some of these kits only have 2 papers, some may have 5 or 6. It just depends on what I had and what I wanted to keep together. I'll show you a few examples. These 2 papers came from the same Amy Tangerine collection. These are the only 2 papers I have left from that collection, so it makes sense to keep them together. This multicolor floral paper is the perfect kit starter because there's so many color options. There's orange and purple and shades of blue. There's even some gray and black. It will be easy to find other tone-on-tone papers to coordinate from my B-sides bin. I think this rainbow paper is really fun, but I probably like the B-side better. It's a good tone-on-tone print. When I have photos and I don't find papers in my new stack, I'll flip through this stack next. When I find a kit that works, these will come out of the stack and I will keep them with my photos and build a larger kit. Here's another example. These are Dear Lizzie papers and they came from a project pad that I think I got at Joann's. There's a bunch of paper here and I wanted to keep them all together because they all look so good with this first kit starter paper, and most of these papers contrast. I think there's 6 papers here. I would pull all of these together into a kit with photos, and once I've used this paper on a layout or 2, the leftovers would move to my Dear Lizzie section in my American Crafts bin. That's how this will flow. Here's some basic gray papers, and yes, I still have a bunch of basic gray papers that I haven't used. Hopefully that will change now that I am making this kit starter stack and I will see these papers more often. Eventually, I'll have photos that will work. I think you get the idea here. Let me set these aside. I wanted to put this process into a video because seeing how someone else does things can help you think through the way you do it. In no way do I think that anyone out there should adopt what I do, unless, of course, it makes sense to you and it supports your process. The most important thing is making sure you know where the paper will go. You don't want to take kits and paper pads apart just to make stacks of paper. Figure out ahead of time where it's going to go, and then adjust. My plan is to make 3 piles. The first pile will be my kit starters and paper I want to keep together. Pile number 2 will be any papers that I want to move to my manufacturer files. And the third pile will be tone-on-tone papers to add to my B-side bin. So, the great outdoors. This is the perfect collection to start with. I am not a camper. We don't do a ton of activities outside, so some of these papers won't work for me at all. But some of them are more generic, and I would use them if they were not in this collection on a shelf that I never look at. This first paper would be a great kit starter. It has multiple colors that you could bring in. There's a lot going on. It could also be good for road trips, not just camping, and you could cut it into strips. I'm not sure that I would ever use it. But on the B side is this really nice cloud print. Very usable and is basically a tone-on-tone paper. I'd probably use the clouds before I'd ever have need for the other side. But you could always use it and cut it in half and use both sides, which is an option. Next is a cut apart sheet with some neat images. I love the starry skies. I love the trees in this national park moment here. Lake life is cool. The images are fun, and it doesn't have to be about camping. There's a picnic scene here, a nighttime scene catching fireflies, but I probably don't need any of these. But on the back side, the B side has stripes in primary colors. I could use this one right now on any number of layouts. This is the keeper for me. The next paper is called In the Woods. I believe these are supposed to be fireflies. Yes, that's my guess. But the way they drew this, actually, it makes a fun print, and the fireflies don't immediately stand out. While it's an outdoorsy theme, this paper would be great for just summer layouts. And it reads more like a tone-on-tone paper. There is some yellow, so it's not really tone-on-tone, but I could still put it in my B-sides bin. Let's flip this over. On the B side is a great storyteller paper. This is a very cool lakeside scene with mountains in the background. I might actually have some camping photos from when I was a kid that could work with this, so I may hold on to this one. Here is a really nice plaid with light, medium, and dark shades of blue. Oh, and here comes Harley, my cat. She's gonna make a little cameo here. If she tries to plot, yep, she's gonna come right into the camera shot. This is not gonna work. Let me just move her off the desk. And I'll straighten the papers and brush off the cat hair. This plaid would even be a great masculine paper. I like this. The B-side has a camping cartoon scenes. I probably would never use that. The next paper has a Native American inspired looking print with buffaloes. I don't think I'd ever use it. On the B-side is fishing flies in a variety of colors. Again, I don't go fishing. I wouldn't use it. But you could probably take a square or a circle punch and make embellishments out of it if you wanted to. But this will go in my purge pile. Next is a fun multicolor floral with white daisies and yellow daisies on a pretty green background. I love this, but since it's sitting in the collection kit, I've never seen it, so I've never used it. This is a great paper, so I'm hoping this one will go in the kit starter. On the B side is woodland critters and trees. It's cute, but I like the flowers better. Here's a fish paper. I'm not really sure what kind of fish they are, but no to this one. On the B side is a basket weave print or kind of a canvas print. It's a nice neutral brown tone-on-tone that could easily go in my B-side bin. I like this one and will keep this one. I could use this just like I would a wood grain paper. It would make a great background. The next paper is camp badges. I wouldn't use this, but turn it over and on the back is another beautiful plaid. I would absolutely use this one. The next paper is full of border strips that you could cut out. There are nice images. Again, could be for road trips, not just camping. But on the B side is another floral, and this is wildflowers. I really like this one. The next paper is another scene paper, mountains and trees. And on the B side is a nice notebook style graph paper that you could cut out if you wanted. The next paper is a gorgeous multicolor floral. This is the paper I knew I would use. This is definitely going in my kid starter stack. Lots of colors here. The B side is a nice starry night scene, but I'm going to put this on the front side for now. Here we have canoes and borders, which I'm never going to use. On the B side is another storyteller paper with a mountain camp scene. I do like these kinds of papers that can help trigger stories. You don't need camping photos to use this paper, or photos at all, really. Just use it to tell a story. Last is the sticker sheet. I'll put this with the papers that I will move to my Cartabella file because you never know when you need stickers with these different icons. Actually, my parents had a VW bus when I was a kid, so I could totally use that on something. So I'll set this aside. So now we're back to this floral. Of all the papers in this collection, this is the kid starter I would use, and I'm gonna make a kit with this. Now I need to go back through all of these papers and pull out 2 or 3 more that I want to keep together with this floral in my kid starter pile. I'm going to go through these more quickly now that we know what's here. For this first paper, I like the B-side better, and I think the clouds will go in my B-side bin, so I'll set this aside. The cut aparts are fine, but on the back is this stripe, and actually this looks good with the floral. And I could always cut a 3x4 from the cut aparts too, so I'm going to keep these together. The fireflies, no, I want to keep that scene. This plaid is too bold, and I wouldn't put 2 busy papers like this together on a layout, so no. No on the buffaloes. This small floral would work. Both are florals, but different background colors, so they do contrast, and there's also a different size and scale, so this is definitely a possibility. The fish, no. The basket weave will go in my B-sides. No on the badges. This plaid is really nice. I like this plaid, and the colors would work with the floral, but I don't think I like them together. No on this border paper. No on the other wildflower floral. No on this landscape. No on the notebook paper. No on the canoes. No on the story paper. Okay, so here are the 3 papers I will keep together and move this to my kid starter stack. These 3 papers contrast with different colored backgrounds. I really like this, so I'm going to set these aside for now. So what am I going to do with the rest of these papers? Next, I'm going back through again to see what I want to keep together and move to the Cartabella manufacturer file. I'm just going to flip through these quickly and see what's left. I was worried with this collection that I'd be purging a lot of papers, but I like most of them. And once I break them out of the collection, I think I will use more of them. Okay, for sure I like this wildflower paper and this plaid together. And I'll add in the mountain scene because all 3 of these look good. For sure, I'm going to go back and look for childhood camping photos because that would be a fun layout, and I've never thought to do that. I like these storyteller papers that can trigger memories like that. This brown could work with them, but I still think it would be better in my B-side bin. I also like this other nature scene paper, so I'll keep this one with these, and these are the papers that I will move to my Cartabella file. This wildflower paper is pretty and could be a kid starter, but I'm going to have plenty of kid starters as I go through all of these collections, so I'm fine with adding this to Cartabella. Let me set these aside. With the papers that remain, this is for the purge pile. This will go in my B-sides. Purge this, and I will keep this. I have 3 more papers to add to my B-sides and only 2 papers from this collection to go in my purge pile. Actually, now that I look at this, I will move this plaid to the Cartabella stack. From this collection pack, just these 2 papers will go in the B-sides, and that leaves me with 2 papers that will get purged. I know I'm never going to use these, so I need to get them out of my space. So again, here are my 3 stacks of papers from that collection that I'm keeping. I have 3 papers that will go in my Kidstarter stack. I'm so excited about this because I would already have used these papers if I had ever thought to go into that collection pack for them. In my Kidstarter stack, I will have a much better shot at finding them and using them. Again, these papers will go in my Cartabella file together with the sticker sheet, and the last 2 papers will go in the B-sides. Going through this exercise feels really good. I don't regret for a moment splitting up this collection pack. I know my preferences pretty well, and I can make these decisions quickly. Now that I know what I'm doing, where things need to go, let's do that again with a smaller collection. The next collection I'm breaking down is Photoplay Rhapsody. I picked this up, I think, at a convention several years ago. I'm going to quickly look at each paper and figure out which piles I want to put the paper in. The first thing I'm looking for is Kidstarters. So this is a multicolor cut-apart sheet and could be used as a Kidstarter. The bead side has this nice tone-on-tone knot print. This multicolor butterfly is exactly what I like to use as a Kidstarter, so this is the first contender. On the B side is a really nice wood grain paper. The next one with the lamps could also be a Kidstarter because it has many different colors. On the B side is a really nice tone-on-tone mandala print. I like the mix of the dark and the light blues. This paper could go in my B-sides bin. This next one is a multicolor floral in warm tones, and on the B side is a nice tone-on-tone red paper. Here's another bright multicolored triangle print. On the B side is an aqua background paper. Next is a floral vine paper with an ivory yellow background. And on the B side is another multicolor larger mandala print. I think this is the sticker sheet. Yes, that will go in the Photoplay manufacturer file. So that's all the papers. Let me flip through these again and figure out which one is the most likely Kidstarter for me. I do like this large mandala, but it doesn't have that many colors in it, and it's very bold. But I do really like the multicolor butterfly for sure, so let me pull that one. There are a lot of colors I could pull out from this paper, and I would have an easier time using it than the bold mandala. Actually, I think I might pull the wood grain paper to go with it. I do like this combination. Let me see what other papers I could pull. It won't be this aqua background. This is the same color as the background in the butterfly paper, and these two do not contrast. I like for my papers and page kits to contrast. I like this other multicolor paper, but I think it's too bright for the butterflies, so no on this one. I like how the red looks. That could actually be a good fit, and it does contrast. I like this knot paper too. And actually, the other side is the cut aparts, and they're always good to have in a page kit. So I'll pull this one too. So this is the kit that will go in my kid starter stack. We have one multicolor paper and 3 tone-on-tone papers that all contrast. I don't think you see the wood grain, so I'll bring this down into the camera shot so you can see it better. Yes, I really like this. I will put the Kid Starter butterfly on top and set these aside. Now, I'm going to create the second pile with any papers from this collection that I want to put in my photoplay manufacturer file. So, yes to the large mandala print. It's bold, but I like it and I want to keep it. Yes to this aqua background. I do like the lamps. There are multicolors in this print that I could match back to from my B-sides. And actually, it contrasts with that large mandala. I bet the red tone would be a good match to this too, but it would probably be better in my B-sides. And no on the smaller mandala for the same reason. I will add this bright triangle too. So these 4 papers will go in my photoplay file. For the third pile, I'm pulling anything that is a tone-on-tone or single color paper. So this red for sure, the small blue mandala, and this nautical ivory paper. There is one paper left over. I don't think I'd ever use this side with the vines, but the other side is that large mandala. I'm keeping the other one. But with this one, I could get a circle punch and punch these out and make embellishments. That's always an option, fussy cutting or using punches to cut out paper and make embellishments. So I'm not going to purge any papers from this collection. Again, I'm adding 3 papers to my B-Sides rainbow. These 4 papers will go together in the photoplay file with the sticker sheet, and these 4 papers will go in my kid starter stack. I've just dismantled 2 collection kits, and it wasn't really that painful. I spent money on these collections, and I need to be using them. I think this is going to make a big difference in my space, and I'm so excited to keep going and to do the same thing with the rest of my collections and paper pads. Thank you for joining me today. I'll be back with another process video soon. See you then.